So are you doing a vegan lemonade marketing? All right, remember I said that I was going to be introducing you to some of my mentors and some of the most successful people that I know? Well, I am delivering on that promise right now. I'm about to call Heru Ofori Atta. All right, let's dial him right
Hello,
now. Brother Heru.
Sister Akua.
You are live. And this is what's called an electronic rendezvous. And I promised my audience that I would begin to introduce them to some of my mentors and some of the most successful people that I know, because I and a lot of us are committed to wealth building and creating homes. And so you're one of those people for me. And I mean, pretty much every career you've had a few you've been very successful at. So it only makes sense to just ask you a few questions. And I know your latest venture is Herbal Results. Can you tell me a little bit about that before we get started with my questions?
Yeah, well, Herbal Results is a company that manufactures and distributes mainly olive leaf extract products. Olive leaf extract, unbeknownst to many, reverses many different illnesses. It actually does what cannabis oil has been doing for people. It stimulates the same receptors, the CB1 receptors, as cannabis oil, but we know that cannabis is federally illegal in the United States. So because it's federally illegal, it limits the amount of people can actually get it. So I found another plant that does what cannabis does, which is the olive leaf plant. And through our manufacturing and extraction process, we've created a super strength product, a maximum strength product with phytonutrients. We're the only company that has olive leaf with phytonutrients. And then we also are the only company that has created an olive leaf gel for topical treatment. So anyone has any skin problems, you have skin cancer, you have lesions, or whatever, warts, anything, you put it on there, and within about a week, it tends to go away.
Wow.
And we're on record for reversing different types of cancer, from breast cancer to liver cancer to prostate cancer.
Wow.
And reversing high blood pressure, diabetes, autoimmune illnesses like lupus, and getting rid of fibroids for so many of the women, particularly in our community, who are affected. So it sounds kind of too good to be true, but we have National Institute of Health studies to back up our claims, and we also have public testimonials that are available on YouTube for people to actually evaluate and hear real people talking about their before and after conditions. We've reversed epileptic seizures.
Wow.
And just, it runs the gamut. So I would just implore people to look into it, where the average cost of cancer treatment in the United States is $30,000 per month. And we've reversed cancer with 2 bottles per month of our maximum strength formula, and each bottle is $65. So compare $130 to $30,000
Wow.
a month.
Wow. Well, this lends itself to a whole nother conversation, which isn't the topic of our phone call, but I know that you come from really a medical background. Your father was a surgeon, and so this healing area is quite natural to you. I know, like every time I hear it, I'm intrigued. How can people get a hold of this product?
They can simply go to herbalresults.net. That's herbalresults.net.
Okay.
And, look at the site. All the information is there. The scientific studies are there. The products page is there. The video testimonials that people can watch for free is there. YouTube embedded links. It's there for people to look at. And also, if people want to know about dietary regimen and the protocol, that's on the About page as well. So people can just go to herbalresults.net and they can get their health on and popping.
All right. Well, I asked for 5 minutes. We're already 4 minutes into this conversation, so I may need to ask for a few more minutes of your time, not too much time. But one thing that I know about you is like I said at the beginning, you've been successful in many careers. You've been an attorney. You've been a spoken word artist. You have owned a few businesses, and you've been in solar energy, and now this company. What would you say would be the common thread of your success from one career to the next?
Well, the common thread of my success is that I got into those industries or those professions to be a problem solver. And because I have a zeal and a passion for solving problems, whenever I would endeavor into any profession, whether it's law or, renewable energy, it was with the purpose of solving problems for our people. Once I understood the history of African people, I understood that there have to be a selected group of people who are problem solvers. And so that's what I've always wanted to be. So when I was practicing law, I felt that, I was getting into that profession to solve problems for people who were underrepresented. When I got into spoken word poetry, I got into it and went hard with it to write poems about the stories of African people. When I got into renewable energy, it was clear to me that there are electricity problems in Africa and the Caribbean, but there's one thing we have is sunlight. So I understood that studying photovoltaics, which is like solar panels, solar energy, would lend itself to solving problems. When I got involved in health, I wanted to find the best herb that would be able to take care of the most problems. And for particularly people of African descent, although it works on everybody, our biggest issues are high blood pressure and diabetes and cancer. And so this is one plant, the olive leaf, that actually successfully deals with all of those big ticket items. And so when I got involved in any profession or any field, it was towards problem solving with that one thing that I had, zeal.
And I hear actually humanitarian somewhere in there as well, that you care about people.
Yeah. I mean, they say charity starts at home. So it was in my vested interest to make sure that the community that I come from has the talents and the education of its own people, solve its own problems. And, generally the problems that Africans have, or people of African descent throughout the world have, problems that other people have. And so we made sure that it is available to everybody. And, I have people from all different cultures who send me emails all the time and, talk about whether their mother, their father, their grandparents have, or they themselves have, reversed their eczema, reversed their kidney failure because of the products that we manufacture. And we actually manufacture from scratch our products, right, and make sure that people get it. And so it means something to me to be able to change people's lives in a very meaningful and tangible way.
Wow. So it's inevitable that you would then create an empire where you have created some wealth. So I just have a few questions around acquiring, creating wealth and money. So
sure. Do
you remember yourself when you were 9 years old? 9-year-old?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
So let's say you were standing in front of that 9-year-old young man and you had to give him some wisdom and knowledge about what it is to acquire wealth and money. What would you tell that 9-year-old young man?
Well, what I would say would be somewhat controversial.
Of course.
I look back at my education. So I went to, university, a top university, then I went to law school. And in that, a lot of time was spent and a lot of money was spent. I know this for a fact that if I took, let's just say, 1 year's tuition at the time, I could have bought a fourplex in terms of property, and had people paying me rent. I could even live in that fourplex for free. People pay me rent, and then I take the equity from that and the cash flow from that and buy another fourplex and own apartment buildings. The question that you have to fundamentally ask yourself is that, are you going to school to learn, or are you going to school so that you can get a job? 98% of people go to school to get a job. Right. That is not wealth building. The only way that you make money from wealth, from actually having a job, is if you actually own stock in that company, particularly a pre-IPO company. So if you are going to get a job, you're going to be happy about it, you would want to ask the owners or your bosses, does this company ever plan on going public? And what is the timeline for that? And one of the ways that you can build wealth is that, instead of asking for so much of an income, you can take half that income and ask for the other half in stocks. So when a company goes public, you would have stock in that company, and typically from IPO to maybe a few years down the line, if it's a sound company, you see over 10x growth. So whatever money you were to be getting in salary would have been 10 times within a few years. Now, this is just a strategy, things that people don't necessarily know, but that's what I would tell my 9-year-old self, that if I'm taking loans to go to school, which is really interest, and so I owe more, you ostensibly owe more money every year on this loan because the interest builds up. That's backwards hustling. You could take that same loan and put it into some monetary instruments or some wealth building instruments and make so much more money. And there are people who've done that. Yeah. So at my 9-year-old self, I would certainly tell myself that.
Wow. Yeah, I never thought about the like, if you're gonna have a job, you might as well see if you can get some stock in that company you're working for. Brilliant. So, actually, I thought of another question, but I'll stick to these. And okay, my next question are, what? And again, you've had many different experiences based on what you were doing at the time for your career. So I'm sure you've experienced many different types of financial experiences. So, what are 3 things that someone who's broke can do right now to turn their financial situation around? Like 3 things that someone can do, like, immediately to turn around their financial situation.
Okay. Well, stop wasting time.
Okay.
So if you are not happy with your financial situation, you certainly shouldn't be watching the Super Bowl. Okay. You certainly shouldn't be watching hours of scandal. Because in this society, they tell you what's important. And in any society, you find out what's important by looking at the penal system. This is going to sound very strange to people, but just follow me on this. In American society, the way they punish you when you are convicted of a crime is only 2 ways. They punish you with time. In other words, you go serve time, right? They give you 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. Yeah. So you serve time, or they fine you money, right? They give you a fine. Right. Those are the 2 ways that they punish people. So they're telling you what's most important in society is your time and your money. So if you want to start turning your financial life away, you're going to have to turn around the type of time that you spend. Yes. And these are based on choices, right? And listen to how it's even said, time being spent. So they're telling you that time actually is a currency because you can spend it. And you spend money as well. And so, for instance, I'll give a great example that is going to be very apropos. On next week, Thursday, the majority of black people in America will be going to see the Black Panther film about a superhero. And this is real. This is really, really serious.
I think it's this Friday, though. It's this Friday.
Excuse me?
It's this Friday, I think.
Okay. Yeah. I thought it was Thursday.
Yeah.
But it's Friday. This Friday. Yeah. Folks are going to see the Black Panther film. The Black Panther film, everyone knows what it's about. It's great, inspirational, and makes people imagine what would it be like to be, in a country in Africa where African people of African descent are in charge of things and have high technology and cannot be defeated by anybody, right? This is something great to aspire to. So a lot of people are excited to see that and take their children to see that. A lot of people, unbeknownst to a lot of people, Disney owns the film. Disney will be getting that money from that ticket that people are coveting so much. As a matter of fact, when you go on social media, a lot of people are displaying their Black Panther tickets online. But the problem is that, and it's not to critique the film, because I haven't seen the film. People should go have their fun if that's how they want to spend their time. That's fine. However, if you're going to buy Black Panther tickets for your whole family, I don't even know what is the cost of a movie ticket these days.
I'm guessing probably $12 to $15. That's my guess.
Okay, so let's just say
parking,
you take. Okay, let's just say you go there with friends and family, because people are planning to do outings. Like groups of 20 people going at a time, and they each pay $10. So that's $200. A lot of people are not aware that Disney is a public company. Disney stock right now is going for $100 a share. All this money that's going to be poured into Disney means that Disney is going to have what you call an earnings call in the next 3 months, which is a quarterly earnings call, where they let their investors know and the world know how much they made for that quarter. And if it's a good earnings call, people end up buying more Disney stock, and then the price of Disney stock increases. And so the owners of Disney stock are actually getting a nice lick. They're getting what you call a come up in the hood. They're getting a come up. So the fact that people are going for that momentary time of enjoyment and feeling good about themselves and entertainment, and they're spending the type of money they're going to spend, and I didn't take into account the concessions like the popcorn and the soda drinks and the candy that people are going to buy. Most people are going to spend, close to $100, but never struck a lot of people to go and buy Disney stock so they can flip that $100.
Right.
And so as Disney is making money, you're making money along with Disney. As a matter of fact, once I found out that Black Panther was coming out and it's going on, I bought Disney stock. Because on that day, I don't need to see the movie to be smiling that day. Because I know what's about to go down. I know what's happening. I know that, again, black folks in America are going to prop up a corporation like we do Nike with Michael Jordan shoes and any of these fashions that we tend to gravitate, whether it's Versace or any of these,
Fenty
companies.
Beauty, Rihanna's line.
Yeah. They make money from us.
Right.
And it's not just black folks, but particularly, working and middle class people. A lot of times entertainment becomes the escape because you got to try to enjoy something in life.
Right.
Right? And if you're working so hard, whatever, people just want an escape. But you pay a premium for that because you're spending money and you're not investing money. So that same $100 could be spent where you could watch it bootleg. I mean, this is the internet age. You could watch it at home bootleg. So, for instance, I can say it right now. I'll watch the Black Panther film, but I won't be paying a dime for it. I'll be watching it bootleg. Right? But I will buy Disney stock.
Yeah.
I'll buy Disney stock. And I bought Disney stock because I know that when their Q2 earnings report comes, that the, shares that I bought in Disney is going to probably double. So I just flipped my money 100%, 2 times because of that. And so what I'm saying is that once people understand to have a psychosomatic response to building wealth, that when you see a hot property like a Black Panther, the impulse to buy tickets transfers to the impulse to buy stock.
Right.
And if you do that, and your children learn that, you've actually created now a legacy of wealth, and whereas your children are just not consumers, they're investors.
Right.
And that's how your children, imagine if a child comes to you and says, Black Panther is owned by Disney, it's going to be hot. I want some stock in that.
Right.
When the child says that to you, that child has been trained.
Right.
Right? Because we're training our children by the things we're excited by.
Right.
They learn to be excited by what we're excited by. Right?
Right.
So if we're excited by investing, they're going to be excited by investing too. And this is all changing how you spend your time and spend your money. So the best thing that people who are broke can do is change how they spend their time and how they spend their money. And the Black Panther movie is just really a metaphor for the mistakes that people make by their emotional attachment to entertainment and not actually investing instead of being consumers.
Right. Got it. So time, how you spend your time, how you spend your money, and what would be the third thing?
Well, and to understand that there are three pillars of wealth. There are three traditional pillars of wealth. One, that is being a business owner. Two, owning stocks. Mm-hmm. And I include cryptocurrencies in that as well, like Bitcoin and what have you. Okay. And because I personally know people who are, cryptocurrency millionaires. Mm-hmm. And also three, real estate. So, you're going to have to engage in those things if you're going to be someone of wealth, particularly if you're going to have generational wealth, because there are a lot of people who are rich, but they're not wealthy. Right. And what I mean by wealthy is that, can this asset that you're sitting on be passed down to your children? Right. That's what wealth is. Being rich means that you are Michael Jordan playing basketball and you're getting a salary for playing basketball, but it doesn't mean that your children are going to have your basketball talent.
Right.
Right? It just doesn't mean that. But if you now have businesses that you can pass on to your children, or you have real estate you can pass on to your children, or stock portfolios that you can pass on to your children, now that's wealth because it is generational. And that is what people need to understand. So once you find yourself engaged in being a business owner, being a real estate owner, and being a stock or cryptocurrency owner, you would have changed your life around, and not only for yourself, but for your children.
Brilliant. What system do you use to manage your money?
So there's a few systems that I use. So number one, so I own a business. I own land, and that's real estate, and I also own cryptocurrencies and stocks. So what would be most important in me interpreting your question is, what is the avenues I have to buy and manage stocks? I use Robinhood. Mm-hmm. Robinhood is a stock app that you can download on your phone, and allows you to buy stocks without commission, without any fees. Mm-hmm. It's free stock. You buy the stock for the price of the stock, which has been unheard of until the last year or two, where Robinhood made it possible, where if the stock's price is $100, you buy it for $100. Okay. There's no fees. There's no spread. And so that's what I use for my stock portfolios, where you can buy, public companies. And I'll tell people right now the stocks that I mainly own. I own stock in NVIDIA, which is a graphics card maker, mm-hmm. and they are responsible for the video quality that you see on your computers, and the computational speed on your computers, and also mining of cryptocurrencies. Mm-hmm. They're not going anywhere. They're only going to grow. Number two, I own stock in Netflix. So instead of, running to buy a monthly subscription Netflix, right, I ran to buy stock in Netflix.
Right.
Number three, I own stock in Baba, which is Alibaba, which is it's actually, more popular than Amazon. Because it's out of China, and China is the manufacturer for the world, and so people from all over buy from Alibaba. And then I also own Tesla stock, with the electric cars and what have you. And because that's where the future is going. Anytime you buy stock, you're predicting the future. You're saying that this thing is going to grow. Right. So I'm buying those things that are leaning towards being relevant and powerful in the future. That's where I make my money from, where you get 10x growth, 50x growth, 100x growth. And I have recently bought stock in Disney. I also own stock in Snapchat. Mm-hmm. And I do that all through Robinhood. Okay. In terms of cryptocurrencies, I manage my cryptocurrencies. A lot of people use Coinbase. I've recently been using Bitstamp. And I also use the Blockfolio app to monitor all of my cryptocurrency holdings. And, I can see it every day in terms of what grow by what percentage or what have you. So that's how I manage that. In terms of real estate, the app that I use is an app called Redfin. Redfin allows you to see properties that are available, particularly multifamily properties. This is the type of properties that we tend to like because you can live in the properties and other people will pay your rent, so you actually are living rent-free. You can also get HUD loans, FHA loans, and you pay 3.5% down as your down payment, and you can build your real estate portfolio that way. So I use Redfin to identify properties because it gives you breakdowns of the units. It lets you know how much rent is being collected by the units already. Is there possible rent that's being collected by the units? It gives you great pictures of the houses, and it really gives you also what the price spread is looking like in terms of low to high. So I would tell people, you can use Redfin, and if you want to move past 4 units, where you start getting into the big boys and the big girl areas of owning apartment buildings, then you use LoopNet. LoopNet identifies apartment buildings very well for people who are looking for 16 units or more, what have you, to purchase, which is something that you can do once you have, a couple fourplexes. And the fourplexes, I keep saying fourplexes because that is the limit of units that FHA allows you to buy with 3.5% down. Regular mortgage, you're doing 20% down. Wow. So the price of, the point of entry is better when you get an FHA loan, which is 3.5% down, which is, the difference between a $100,000 property where you're paying $3,500 down as opposed to $20,000 down. There's a big difference between $3,500 and $20,000.
Oh, yeah.
So sure. That's what I use in terms of my business. My business is online, where people, buy things online, and I use PayPal. And PayPal, in terms of managing my business and how the business is going, it has great charts on it. It gives you your daily sales compared to your monthly sales, your weekly sales. It lets you know the activity. It lets you know, the invoicing. It lets you know so many different things. And so it's not just a payment processor. It actually gives you charts for you to look at your performance. And it's very valuable and very helpful. So that's how I manage my money. That's how I manage my businesses. In terms of fiat money, yes. Which is, government issued money, which is the U.S. dollar, I like to use credit unions because of their low fees and the fact that you can actually really go into the banks, befriend the bankers, and leverage those relationships towards, more money. Right. You'd be surprised the difference it makes from knowing a banker and not knowing a banker, where you can actually call them and, they can look at your balance, and if you have a nice balance, you don't have to go to the bank anymore and try to wait to see somebody. They will call you to book an appointment. Wow. So yeah, there's actually a special door that they have for
special doors.
Those types of, yeah, there's a special door. You don't meet. You don't go sit in a cubicle with a bank representative. They have one of their senior people will book an appointment, and you just walk in the bank and you sit down with them and you talk business. Mm-hmm. And you talk about how we can make money together, because that's what the banks are into. They're just a business partner. And so once you understand that, now the whole world opens up to you in terms of the possibilities, because the bank now sees Wow, he has a stock portfolio. Wow, he has real estate portfolio. Wow, he has business cash flow. And this is what they want to see. And so when your bank starts seeing that, they want to associate with you, because at the end of the day, everyone wants to associate with a winner. Men want to associate with women that they define as winners. Women want to associate with men who they define as winners. When you go for a job interview, they want to hire winners. When you go to a bank, the bankers want to be with winners. And the way that you establish yourself as a winner is to be able to be very clear with these banking institutions that you understand the three pillars of wealth.
You have delivered really the contents of a book. There's so many nuggets and so much value that you've given us. I just have one more question for you. And years ago, I was interviewed about the topic of an article that the average Black woman had $5, was worth $5. Like she could only get $5 at the bank or something like that. And so a lot of what you discussed, I think, may be intimidating for some people who may be in survival mode. So at what point do you feel that people should start investing? And like for people that are really in survival mode, I don't know if you could even relate, but there are really people that are, really living in poverty. Like they don't look like it. They look like regular average people, but that is reality for some people. So, at what point do people begin to invest when they're just trying to, they're in survival?
Right. So, there's an old saying that says that, there are 2 times that are the best times to plant a tree. 20 years ago and today. Right?
Yeah.
So, a lot of people who say that they're in poverty, I see them wearing Jordans. I see them going to the Black Panther show. I see them wearing more expensive clothes than I wear. This is just the reality. Okay. This is not me making this up, because no one can really talk to me about this, because I've lived in the hood.
Right.
I've had $5 in my bank account. I've rolled dice with Pookie. You understand? Nobody, I lived in Roxbury,
yes,
in Boston. I lived next to the Robert Taylor homes when I was in Chicago growing up.
Right.
You understand? And I've made observations. And I've made observations that if people are spending $100 a month on lottery tickets, which people who are calling themselves poor tend to do, they got money for lottery tickets. Right. They got money for 40 ounces of beer. They got
cigarettes.
Money for
cigarettes.
Huh?
Yeah, cigarettes.
Yeah.
So expensive.
So let's just look at what people are spending. I mean, people are broke, but they got a Netflix subscription. Right? I mean, you know this. You know this.
Cable. Forget Netflix.
Yeah.
Cable.
You know this. Yeah. You know this. So not only that, you broke, but you got an iPhone 12 or whatever it is. Like, you laugh, but this is real. And now when we talk about investing, let's evaluate. How much is Snapchat stock? One stock of Snapchat is, right now I'm looking at it, is $19.62. That means that you can be a part owner in the destiny of where Snapchat goes for $19.62. That's $20. But don't tell me that you're broke, but I can be driving, on a Friday night and see you coming out of a strip club. You understand what I'm saying? So it's about priorities. This is like how the American government says that they're broke when, someone talks about free college education, the United States government, the other politicians say, oh, that would be so expensive. How would you pay for that? But they never broke for bombs.
Right.
They never broke for military escapades.
Right.
Right? So they're never broke for destructive things. And so when you then extrapolate down into the individual, how are you broke and you can't buy Snapchat stock, but I see you coming out of a strip club? I see you with an iPhone 22. And it's gold.
Right.
You know, I see you with gold chains around your neck. I see you with gold teeth.
Right.
I see you as a woman getting your hair did every week. I see you, you know, getting different nail polish on, getting, you know, pedicures, and getting your eyebrows done.
Point
right?
taken. Yes.
So what I'm saying is that people seem to have expendable income, and not only that, to the men, to the young men out there, don't tell me that you can get a nickel bag of weed, but you can't buy you can buy a 20 sack of weed, but you know, for your own pleasure. And most of the time it's Reggie. You're not even smoking a good weed.
Right.
But you can't buy a share of Snapchat. So what I'm trying to say is that the impulses that people have need to be recalibrated towards something that helps you grow instead of something that weakens you but excites you for the time.
Point taken. I think you're crystal clear. Thank you.
Right. Snapchat stock is $19.62, people.
Go get it.
Go get it. Go get it. Go get it, because guess what?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, I want to see all y'all go get it. Because as we used to say back in the day, it ain't no fun unless the homies can have some too.
Everybody got to eat.
Everybody eats. Everybody eats. Everybody eats.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm saying. Like, let's start recalibrating our knee-jerk reflexes.
Right.
Let our knee-jerk reflexes to when we do get some money, whether it's $50 or $100, to say, okay, I'm not going to buy that bag of weed. Or I'm not going to go to the strip club. Or I'm not going to get my, you know, lace front weave this week. Or I'm not going to, spend, $800 on an iPhone. Or I'm going to actually put money into Netflix stock. I'm going to put money into Disney stock. I'm going to put money into my own business, my own legitimate business. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
This can be done. And the reason why I know this can be done is because I did it. And I have average intelligence. And if I have average intelligence and I could do it, then so can you, your mama, and your auntie too.
Well, I've agreed with everything that you've said except for that. You do not you have way more than average intelligence. So you're being very, very modest.
No, I'm not, because I know genius. No, I know geniuses. I remember when I was in school, and the smartest kid in our class was a kid named Matthew. And today Matthew is a theoretical physicist at Yale University. He's a professor of physics, of theoretical physics and string theory. I ain't doing that. So I'm just keeping it real. Like, people might be, but I believe that I have average intelligence. I think what I might have over other people is that I do have an ability to focus. I have a laser focus. I have an ability to do that. But I do not have more capacity than other people. I wasn't performing like Matthew in understanding physics. There are people who are legitimately geniuses. I don't consider myself a genius. I do consider myself of average intelligence, but not average based on modern society, average based on just the capacity of what human beings can do.
Okay. Now that makes sense. Fair enough. So I asked you for 5 minutes, and it's been 38 minutes. So it's kind of silly to think that I could ask you 5 questions and think it'd be 5 minutes because of all of the just how wise you are. So thank you. I know this is going to help a lot of people on many levels, in addition to checking out your products that sound almost too good to be true, but it's definitely true. So thank you so much, and I wish you well, and hope to talk to you soon. Anything else? Any closing remarks?
Just, keep doing what you're doing. Thanks for exposing your audience to other, people who are really doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Advice should be listened to by people who have actually done it.
Yes.
And to remove the theory and put it into practice and let people know that they can do it.
Yeah.
That you don't have to, be Oprah or do what any celebrities do to actually be wealthy. You don't have to. And actually, the best wealth is anonymous wealth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one of my favorite things about you is what you always say, I got action.
I got action.
No more meetings. It's time to act.
I got action.
All right.
And, and one of these days I look forward to interviewing you.
All right. Just let me know.
All right.
Take care. Thank you.
No problem.
Peace. Wasn't that amazing? So I hope that you will watch this over and over and over again. Take notes. And I'd like to know, out of all that Heru shared, what is the one thing that stood out the most and the one thing that you will take action on within the next 24 hours? Put that below. And I will see you next time. I'm so excited. Take care.
Sweet dreams.